Good morning, Com 330 students. We're going to look at new technology law right now and do a quick summary of the first part of that chapter. We're first going to look at converged video, text, and audio, well known as convergence. And this has caused some problems in regard to communications law. Particularly in regard to libel, which we've talked about, obscenity, which we've talked about, also privacy, which we'll talk about yet this semester. So three things that have a problem with converged text. You suddenly have print and audio, which sometimes have different slander and libel laws all mixed together. The next thing we're going to look at is net neutrality. You've probably heard about this quite a bit. Not often discussed in a way that's easy to understand. So we'll talk about that for a little bit and where we are actually with net neutrality. Net neutrality, one way to describe it is it allows people to have internet content and services that they choose. And so that sounds really good. Definitely want to have that. It's really a balance between this debate is a balance between business and individual freedom, and you don't want to not have individual freedom. Certainly you don't not want to have business because that takes out how you get many things, an incentive. So there really has to be a balance, and that's what people have been trying to achieve. Now, some companies want to restrict it in a way that helps businesses, and so they would argue that's free enterprise. And so that's the other aspect of it. Net neutrality looks at, is farther from the business standpoint, although it still allows good business, but it says that everybody gets the content they want, and some argue that's good for democracy. So the whole marketplace of ideas, because people have more things they can look at, and they look at what they want. To some extent, you still have to depend on what content is out there. So it's a constant battle. Now, in 2018, that is 1 or 2 years ago, depending on what month you're looking at. But fairly recently, they've had this battle for a while. Fairly recently, the FCC ruled that against net neutrality. They said that they repealed the net neutrality rule. So federally, it has been repealed. The person who did that was the chair of the FCC. And remember before I said the chair was selected by the president. And so this was one of the things that the current administration wanted, was a repeal of net neutrality. The chair, Ajit Patel, worked on that and actually did repeal that. Now, you say, so there's no more net neutrality? Actually, there is. And that's because the states, even though federal has repealed it, on the federal level, it's been repealed. The states still have the ability to enforce net neutrality. So they can say there is net neutrality on the state level. So it's a battle of individual freedom versus company control. Now, what do the companies want? Three things that the companies want. One is throttling speeds. And you've probably heard about this because maybe you've been watching a movie, it's been streaming, and all of a sudden it freezes, etc. And that can be because an internet company is throttling speeds. And some will have a good argument for this in that it takes more to download movies and stream movies than it does to get other kinds of entertainment, but that's one of the concerns. What the companies would like to do is not throttle speeds for companies that pay the internet servers, so they would a company would have to pay extra to get their streaming content in. Where are we? Number 2. The other would be blocking legal pages. And a content provider may want to, not illegal pages because, we're familiar with those, but those that society generally agrees on should be censored to some extent. The legal pages, though, you might be maybe you are blocked because you're a rival of an advertiser who is paying the content provider. So that would provide money to the content provider, and there are some arguments for that, but that's the second thing that they want, blocking legal pages. And there's a concern for that because are you getting the marketplace of ideas if you're only getting things that people pay for? So the people who don't have the money to pay for, small businesses, etc., you're not getting their content. Is it a level playing field? Some of those things enter in. Last is paid prioritization that the companies want, and that is to when you have when you look for do a search or something else, you get things that you get sites that people have paid for to put them up. Now we get that now, but it says sponsored sites. It's used to be on the side, now it's on the top, and you know that's happening. So that is that's what they're trying to do, and or would like to do to some extent, are doing. And so those are the three things that the companies want with net neutrality. That's net neutrality in a nutshell. I will see you next time.